Hey makeup friends, and welcome to a series that I'm going to be calling Decluttering in December. Can you guess what it's going to be about? It's going to be about decluttering. And because I'm pre-filming, I think I'm probably going to forget what the makeup situation is here. So quickly, on the eyes, I have the Nabla Side by Side palette, and then my lipstick today is from Bareminerals. This is the Radiant lipstick in the shade Posh. Now, with that out of the way, welcome back to my channel. Or if you are new here, then welcome. My name is Kara. I am a 40-year-old professional and mother of two, and makeup is my escape. It is my happy place. On my channel, we like to mix beauty, brains, and the occasional F-bomb. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, just keep watching. Okay, so I like to do big declutters maybe twice a year. Just things get overwhelming, and then trying to find spots for everything, and I don't have a home, and then it just all starts cluttering around me, and so I need to declutter it. And such is the case with my foundations. So I do have this holder here. You can see there's quite the assortment of foundations and primers in there. And then there are some that don't fit within those squares. So odd shaped bottles like this, and then really extra tall canisters like this, or this one here. We'll get into them. So I store most of my makeup in an Alex drawer system. So I actually have 2 of the 5 drawer systems that hold up a tabletop in front of me and it becomes a desk. But things like this guy here, even in the deeper drawers, they're too tall to stand up. So things lie down on their sides, and then it just becomes overwhelming. And then I have a hard time finding anything that I'm looking for. I can tell just looking at these, some of these foundations I have had for altogether way too long. There are some that I just do not like. So I'm going to go through them and we're going to purge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them all out of the container so that I can see everything that we have, and then I'll go through them, and the ones that I am going to get rid of, I'll explain to you why it is that I'm going to get rid of them. And ones that I know definitively are definitely not leaving, I'll also talk about them really briefly. So just hold on one second. All right, so I'm going to start off with primers, and I have a ton of sample primers, and I don't really want to get rid of any of them because some of them are really quite pricey. Like I have a Guerlain one, I have a Charlotte Tilbury one. There's a whole whack of them in here, and I can't remember exactly when it was. If it was last winter or prior to that. I feel like it was last winter, but 2020 has been 10 years long, so I can't remember exactly. But I did a whole series of videos where I went through as many of my samples as I could, and it's quite impressive how many you can go through if you really concentrate on them. So I have the feeling that if I set these ones sort of aside and put them in a little makeup bag and really focused on reaching for these before I dive back into the full size, I could get through these fairly quickly. It's not going to take a week or two, but there's not that much primer in each one of these, so that is the plan because I don't want to get rid of them. There are some that are sort of middle of the road primers that I'm not really going to focus on today, but I'm going to share with you 3 that I am going to, well, 2.5 that I'm going to get rid of, and 4 that I'm definitely going to keep. So this is one that I'm going to be decluttering. This is from Physicians Formula. It's the Refreshment Cucumber and Bamboo Eye Depuffer. I have had this for years, and it smells like I've had it for years. Why am I going to do this to myself again? Yeah, it kind of smells like, I don't know, 7-day-old fish. It smells awful. There's no way that I'm going to be putting that on my eyes. The fact that I've had it for years and have barely made a dent in it speaks to how much I didn't really love it. So it's time to let it go. This one here is from Winky Lux. It's the Whipped Cream Primer. And I didn't hate it per se. It's more like a solid kind of primer. It's not a liquid. However, it's very silicone-y. And so it feels greasy on my skin, and I find that makeup can slip around a little bit. It's nice for buffing stuff on top of it, but the longevity of your makeup isn't necessarily there. and it feels really heavy on my skin, so I never ever reach for it, and I don't see that changing anytime soon, so I'm gonna let that one go. And then the last one, sort of the half that I was talking about, is this one here. This is the Tatcha Silk Canvas. And the only reason why I'm saying that I'm going to get rid of it is because it's just about empty. So I am going to finish it up. There's probably at most 3 more uses in here. So I'm just not going to put it back in the drawer. I'm just going to leave it out on top of my desk so that this is the one that I concentrate on first and finish it up. On to the 4 that I didn't even have to think about. I know for sure I'm going to be keeping these. Again, Tatcha comes into play. This one is the Liquid Silk Canvas, which if you're debating between the two, this is the one that I give the edge to. It's just such a beautiful primer, comes with a pump. Little goes a long way. If you want to try it out, I would suggest just getting the mini because it's going to last you quite a bit of time. I don't know when I'm ever going to get through all of this, but I'm going to give it the old college try. It feels like skincare when I put it on. So there's none of that silicone slip to it. It just feels very moisturizing. It has a nice, light, but refreshing kind of scent to it, and it just makes my skin feel good, and then the makeup applies really nicely on top of it. So this is one that, even though it's like wildly expensive, I think it's kind of worth it because it is such a nice product to use. Another primer that feels like skincare but comes in at a much lower price point is this one from Good Molecules. This is the silicone-free priming moisturizer. So it kind of holds double duty. You can use it as a primer, you could just use it as a moisturizer, you can get away with either. It says that it's formulated with shea butter, macadamia seed oil, and a plant-derived silicone alternative to deeply hydrate, smooth, and nourish the skin. I find that this has none of that silicone feel to it. You'll hear me talk about that pretty much anytime I talk about primers because the feel of that silicone just, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me. I hate that slippery, greasy feel. I just am not a fan of it at all. And this one does not have that. So even though it has the silicone alternative in it, it feels like a moisturizer. And yet again, my foundation blends really nicely on top of it. Nothing pills up. It's a really nice primer. I think it's $19 US. So definitely a less expensive alternative to the Tatcha, but they both have sort of the same kind of effect. If you've seen any of my videos where I do test out foundations, then you'll be familiar with this primer here because this is the one that I always use whenever I'm testing out foundations. This one is the Backstage primer from Dior. It's just in shade 001 Universal. And what I really like about this is that it's just purely functional. There's no bells or whistles to it. It doesn't add any radiance, it doesn't mattify, it doesn't blur, it just creates this like clean canvas on the skin so that the makeup can apply nicely. And so I find that it doesn't skew how the foundation performs. If the foundation is glowy, then that's the foundation, it's not this. If my skin looks mattified, again, it's because of the foundation, not because of this. And again, this is one of those products that it feels like you're applying a moisturizer. It doesn't feel heavy on my skin, so even though I'm wearing makeup throughout the day, by the end of the day I don't have that really heavy feeling on my face in the same way that I did with that Winky Lux primer. It's just a really nice, functional primer. I really like this one. Now, whereas the Dior does not add any radiance or mattifying or anything of that sort, this one here from Smashbox does. This one is the Radiance with Hyaluronic Acid Photo Finish Foundation Primer. This is just like the mini size of it. Honestly, I don't know what it is, but I think in 2 different stores now, Sephora and Shoppers Drug Mart, these little mini guys, they go for like $20 each, I think it is. And then the full size, which is double the amount, is like $45. So it doesn't make any sense. Like you may as well just buy 2 of the minis because you're going to get the exact same amount of product, but you're going to save a few dollars. So that's why I have the mini size. But I really like this one as a radiant primer because it's not so radiant that I have to wear foundation on top of it. I can wear it on its own and it just adds sort of a healthy looking glow to the skin without being like, wow, you're really shiny. Like what's going on over here? It just, especially in winter, I find that it just helps to like bring a little bit of livelihood back to my skin. Having said that, if I wear this and then apply foundation on top, it does peek through a little bit. Not to the same degree that, say, the L'Oreal Lumi, Magic Lumi, whatever that one's called. I just finished it recently, so I don't have the packaging anymore. I don't think. Maybe I do. Doesn't matter. The Magic Lumi Glow, whatever it's called, that one. I can't wear that one just on its own. It's beautiful under foundation, but it's way stronger in terms of the glow department than this one is. So I like this because I can wear it on its own, or I can wear it under foundation, and it's still just going to give this really soft, beautiful effect to the skin. Okay, now it's time to go through the foundations. God help me. So again, I have gone through them. There's some that are just sort of middle of the road. I do have some standouts, but the ones that I am going to be decluttering, some of them are terrible, and some of them are just so old that there's no way I'm putting them on my skin. So let's go through those ones first, and then we'll end on a positive. So in the it looks horrific on my skin category is this one here from Jouer. This is the Essential High Coverage Cream Foundation. Oh my God, it's terrible. It is terrible. Like, they are not lying when they talk about full coverage, except it just, first of all, it's so thick. Like, it's so thick. And then it just looks like a mask of foundation. And if you have incredibly problematic skin or a lot of discoloration, I think this would probably be right up your alley. But for me, it's just altogether, it's high coverage. Like, they're not lying about that. For me, it's just altogether too much. That was one little drop. Like, I can blend and blend and blend, and it's still, I mean, they're not lying. They say it's the Essential High Coverage. It is most definitely high coverage. But it dries down and looks cakey on my skin. It's just, it is not a foundation that I ever reach for, because to me, you could just see the makeup on the skin. Like, it has such a intensely matte finish to it that it's not for me. I think depending on your skin concerns, this might work out well for you. It has hyaluronic acid in it. It's oil free. I guess those are good things, but altogether for my skin, it just is a big fail for me. Along the same lines, but not quite to the same degree as the Jouer, is this one from NARS. Obviously, this is just a little sample, but it was enough for me to know that this is just not for me. This is the Soft Matte Complete Foundation. I think it's their newest foundation that they put out. It's just too much coverage for my skin. It's not, like I said, it's not as bad as the Jouer. It does blend out nicer and looks nicer on my skin, but it's not something that I'm ever going to reach for. I know I'm not even going to finish the sample, so I'm just going to let it go. Now, this one doesn't offer that much in the way of coverage, and it's certainly not mattifying, but I don't like the way it feels on my skin. This is the Shu Uemura, the Light Bulb Fluid Foundation, Second Skin Glow Breathable Perfection. I liked it when I first got it, but then the more I wore it, the less I liked it. It just doesn't hold up very well throughout the day. I don't have particularly oily skin. I don't have a lot of super dryness or anything of that. I'm just kind of right there in the normal range, edging a bit more towards dry, especially in these winter months. But this one just did not hold up on my skin at all. So I think if you have any amount of oiliness to your skin, you're probably not going to like this one. And it's just one of those foundations that by the end of the day, I'm aware of my makeup and I just want it off. For that reason, it's been sitting in my drawer untouched for months. It's enough. It's time to just part ways with it. This one here is from YSL. The name is all in French, so I'm just completely going to butcher it. Le Teint Encre de Peau, maybe? It is so separated. I'm pretty sure I bought this 2 years ago and it was on sale then, so God only knows how old it actually is. There's no actual use by date or anything like that on here, but I can see that it's completely separated. I could probably shake it and mix it all together, but the vision of all that watery stuff sitting on top is going to stick with me, and I'm not going to put it on my skin, so I'm just going to take the L and let it go. If I had loved it, I would have used it more. Clearly, I didn't. It just, the sight of that gives me the heebie-jeebies. Okay, this one as well is way past its prime. This one does have an expiry date on it because it has a tiny bit of SPF in it, SPF 17. It's the L'Oreal True Match, and it expired in September of 2019. So, bye-bye. Huh. And then I have 4 drugstore ones here, which are a combination of I didn't love them and they're also really old. These two, really old. I did enjoy the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. This one over here, I just didn't enjoy it enough to have finished it up. This, I don't know what it is. CoverGirl and I just don't really get along. I don't know why. I don't know what I ever did to you. But have I found any CoverGirl items that I love? I don't think so. I don't know what it is, but I guess we can all have a brand that we just don't jive with, and for me it's CoverGirl. I don't know why. This one's the Ready Set Gorgeous. You know, it performs better than some of the other foundations that I've tried from them, but I know I've had this for well over a year, probably, I'm going to say probably 2 years at this point. It's time, and I don't reach for it. And then these two I've had, I gotta say, about a year. Honestly, I don't know. The L'Oreal Age Perfect Radiant Serum Foundation, and then this one is the Physicians Formula Organic Wear Silk Foundation Elixir with jojoba oil. Good Lord. This one, I don't like the way it looks on my skin. It kind of has the same effect of the Jouer, but without all the coverage. It just, you can see the makeup on your skin, and that is not the look I'm going for. This one really wasn't all that bad, but I have some other like better options in my opinions, and certainly ones that I reach for way more than I reach for this. So it's inevitable that at some point it's just going to be sitting there collecting dust and separating like the YSL. So I'm just going to nip that in the bud and let it go now. So then if we're going to switch gears onto ones that I really do like, one of them I don't even think you can buy anymore. At least I can't find it. So sorry about that. But this is the Maybelline Superstay Better Skin Skin Transforming Powder with Salicylic Acid. Just, like I said, a powder foundation. Comes with a little sponge that I don't use. You can see that I have been using the heck out of it. I've hit pan on it. And I really like how easy it is to use powder foundations. I have another one here. This one's from Too Faced. I also don't think you can get this one anymore. Good Lord. But I really like this one. I like using this on top of an ultra glowy primer because it is so mattifying. If I do like that kind of combo, then there is still a little bit of highlighting showing through, and of course I'll put powders and highlighters and all that kind of stuff on top of it. But it's just so easy. I put the like glowy foundation on, do a few swirls with the brush, I'm good to go. It lasts all day. It doesn't look cakey. It looks a hell of a lot less cakey. It looks a hell of a lot less cakey than the Jouer, which is saying something because this is actually a powder. The other one just looks like a powder. So that's a standout for me. And then this one here. So look how cute he is. I talk a lot of crap about Benefit. I'm so bored by them, generally speaking. But this foundation is fantastic. This is the Hello Happy Soft Blur Foundation. This one's in shade 2. Over the course of the summer, I finished shade 3, but now we're getting into my actual natural state of being. I don't really do the self-tanner thing. I just honestly can't be arsed to do it. So this one matches my skin. It's just so nice and easy to use. It's basically a light to buildable to medium kind of coverage. It's great for everyday wear. I just really like it. I like the packaging as well, that it's just a little squeeze tube. Also, it just makes me giggle. Like, I like the little happy face on it. It just makes my heart happy. It really does. But it's just a fantastic foundation, especially if you like a lighter coverage. Another standout to me is this one here from Natasha Dedona, and in fact, I have 2 bottles of it in the same shade, and that is because when Sephora shipped it to me, it came basically like that. So a lot of it had spilled out into the box. So although this is only like maybe a month old, it's already like down to here because so much had spilled out. So I emailed them and they immediately sent a replacement for me. So I have basically 2 bottles of it, which is fantastic because I happen to really like this foundation. It is medium buildable to full coverage. It has a really natural finish on the skin. It doesn't add a ton of radiance, but nor is it really mattifying. It just looks like skin. It's really lightweight on the skin as well. So again, by the end of the day, I'm not like, take this mask off. It just, you put it on and you forget you even have it. So I'm really a big fan of this foundation. I'm kind of excited that I have 2 bottles of it. So there we go. And then the last one that I want to give a shout out to is an oldie but a goldie, and it is this one here from MAC. This is the Pro Longwear Foundation. I have it in NC20. What can I say? There's a reason that people have been talking about this foundation for eons, because it's good. It's just like a powerhouse. Like it does what you want it to do. Again, medium, full coverage. Feels like a second skin on. It's not super heavy. It's not really drying or mattifying or really glowy or anything of that sort. It's just a really nice functional foundation. And it's one that I could see myself repurchasing if I did not have 6 million other foundations to choose from. Although there's going to be 8 less of them because of this little exercise. 8? Yes. 9. Whatever. And there we have it, guys. That is what my foundation and primer holder now looks like. There are some empty spots in there, which is actually kind of nice. And then some of them that are just too big, they're going to have to lie on their side and be stored that way. But at least now everything sort of has its own home. I can see a little bit more clearly what I have, which will hopefully let me get more use out of all of the foundations that I have. So on that note, thank you so much for coming along on this journey with me. Like I said, there are going to be at least 4 more declutter videos coming up, all filmed in, well, mostly filmed in different formats. Some of them are just like a camera, sort of eagle eye looking down. Some of them are, I've already sorted through them and I'm just showing you which ones I'm getting rid of, but you will see as we go along. But I hope you enjoyed this series. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.